This Sunday's gospel reading of the wedding at Cana is one that I'm sure comes to you with great familiarity. But which part of the reading strikes a chord with you most? See, there are many different elements and layers of this reading, so much so that this video could be much, much longer and have chapter breakdowns for the historical context of each line. But for today, we're going to just look at 2 points. The first is know your role, and the second is the good wine. Okay, so know your role and the good wine. When Jesus and Mary are at this wedding feast, they are guests. And it's really important to note that a guest at a traditional Jewish wedding feast was to not overstep their role and start operating as if they were the father or mother of the bridegroom or the bride. That would be extremely offensive and just disrespectful. So when Christ says, "Woman, how does your concern affect me? My hour has not yet come," in reference to the moment when the wine runs out at the wedding, we are to receive that in multiple ways. One is that this wine is just not a concern of the guests, and it shouldn't be, right? It's of the family that's organizing the wedding. And this other part, that my hour has not yet come, this takes the symbolism of the wedding and transforms it into the building of the church through Christ's sacrifice and the sacrament of his body and blood. The whole use of the wedding feast is direct foreshadowing for how the church is to be built. This is why we often refer to Jesus as the bridegroom and the church as the bride. The wedding feast helps build the family. And so by Jesus saying this, he's saying our time to build the family of the church is not here. It's not now. The second element of using the good wine is really fascinating to me because it calls to mind how much we as people can be so concerned with our image, judgment, money, status, ego, all these different things. So much so that we would make a plan for how to use the good wine. Right? To save money and save face by using the good wine first and then swapping it out when people don't notice. That way we can seem fancy, but we don't break the bank. Here Jesus is saying, I'll perform this miracle for you all, but you must understand that the truly good wine is to be served and appreciated by those who desire it. It is not to be used as a tool for status or as a party trick. It is life-giving and deserves to be given to those in attendance. So when we're looking at this story, Jesus is offering us countless lessons, and of course, he gives us this miracle that would serve as a declaration of his divinity and his ministry. But for the sake of this space and this reflection, I think that right now, the lessons of know your role and the good wine are of most value to the general public, us in the pews. See, God needs us to know our role within the church and to do it well, right? To answer the call to action when presented, but also understand that the feast we are at is not about us. It's about God and the greater church. It's about all of us and the ways in which we can serve Christ's mission. God also needs us to value the sacraments and understand that we partake in them not as social tools for political weaponization, as example, or status or ego. No, the good wine is not a resource for our egos, rather an invitation towards holiness. Let me say that again. This isn't a resource for our egos, rather an invitation towards holiness. So as we continue on in this new year, let us play our part for the greater good of our church, and let us believe in the power of the good wine.